Well, I went over the mountain the other day to Sevierville, and I went into Smoky Mountain Knife Works while I was over there. I always like to walk around in there and see what they got, and I found something that I've been wanting for a good while, and here it is. I'll show the end of it there. It's a LT Wright Large Northern Hunter. Now this one here is an AEBL steel. It's an eighth of an inch thick. AEBL steel, and it's in black micarta handle. Now, I've been wanting one of these for a while, and what I mean is I always liked the Canadian belt knife style of knife. And this is LT Wright's version of a Canadian belt knife. What a Canadian belt knife was good for, they used it for all around stuff, but the Canadians did a lot of trapping and stuff up there, and so they did a lot of skinning. They did a lot of scraping of hides and stuff with that back right there, the way that kind of leaf shaped blade. They'd scrape with the back of it, and they'd skin with it, process game, and you could do just about anything with it. But it's overall, it's a hunting knife. That's what it was made for. You can see on LT Wright, on his version of the Large Northern Hunter, that it's got just kind of a continuous belly in the blade right there. So that blade curves pretty much the whole way. There's not a lot of flat in there. That's real good for skinning and slicing, or just pressing down and cutting. I personally like that continuous curve on the blade right there. I think it slices better. Now, being an 1/8 inch thick, it'll be real slicey too. Being AEBL, you won't have to worry about stains or leaving blood on it if you got something out or cut something up in the woods and then just bring it out and it's not cleaned up real good. You won't have to worry about that. AEBL still will be good. I like the way he shapes his handles here. It's very comfortable. And when I would see that knife, when I was first looking at it, I always wanted a Canadian belt knife, but this area right here looked thin in the pictures, and I thought, I don't know if I'd like that knife or not. So that area looked thin, but it's not. When you get it into your hand, that's a good thick dimension right there. There's plenty to hold on to. That's plenty big of a handle. And this back here's got no sharp edges. The way it's shaped, it's very comfortable. You can get up on it right here. It's just shaped right for getting up on it. If you want to do like that. Side holding. Pinch grip like I use a lot. And if you do like the thumb on there, it's good for that too. Very secure in the hand. This knife is absolutely perfect fit and finish. I can't find anything wrong with this knife fit and finish wise at all. Nothing whatsoever is uneven or unevenly ground. Plunge grinds are dead on. I don't know if you can see that. All the handles and stuff is all smooth, even. Again, like I say, I can't find anything whatsoever wrong with that knife. Now, I'd wanted a knife like this for a few years, Canadian belt knife, and I'm very pleased so far with it. Sheath that it came in was the regular sheath that LT sends with his. Good thick sheath, leather, got a dangler. I mean, you could do kydex on a knife if you wanted to and make a kydex for it, but this leather's pretty nice, and this one has a dangler on it and a far steel loop. That's pretty much the standard LT Wright sheath. Now you can see here, I'll bring out my long knife, and I wet formed that sheath. I had a video on that, but it has that same sheath. And if you look at it, it's got the same steel, AEBL, and I got the same handles on them. So I'm kind of getting me a little bit of a set started of LT Wright stuff, and he does very good work. The only gripe I had of this knife was it's got a sharpened spine on it, and it just looked like somebody just as an afterthought just slapped the knife onto some rough belt right there. It's all crooked and just hogged out all the way down through there. I don't care for that. Some people like a sharpened spine so bad that they'd just take it done any which way. I'm not one of them people. I just think that takes away from the knife to have a perfect knife and then have a all crooked down through there like somebody just whoever before they put it in the box and maybe not even skilled in knife work just slapped it on some belt. That probably wasn't what happened, but it looks like it. This knife here don't have a sharpened spine. In the description it says it has a rounded spine. It don't have a rounded spine. That spine's sharp. I bet it do anything you want it to do. I'm not going to even try to do a fire steel with it because I don't want to. It's a hunting knife, but they don't go out of their way to sharpen the spine on this knife like they do these bushcraft ones. And so this here don't have that, what they call a sharpened spine, and this knife's perfect. So this knife, like I said, it should be real slicey because it has that angle and it's 1/8 thick. Also, the dimensions on the knife, just to recap, 8.875 long. It's supposed to have a 3.87 inch cutting edge, so I guess that's measured along the curve. There again, 1/8 inch thick AEBL steel. I've not tried to cut anything with it. Nothing wrong with the edge on that. So I'm going to cut a thing or two just to see how it cuts. See how slicey it is. Oh yeah, I like that it's continuous curve in a knife. Cutting that lemon. I always peel an apple with a knife just to see how it'll peel an apple because I feel like that shows dexterity in a knife. Not like a knife, this knife's made for peeling apples, but if you can peel an apple with a knife, you can do fine work with it. That's what I always thought. I'm getting a fairly thin peeling off of there. So it's doing good. There again, pretty slicey. I'm stepping up to an orange, just going on up in size a little bit. There again, this thing, I mean, it goes without saying it's probably going to be slicey. Let's get a grapefruit. A grapefruit, you cut them in half. Now we're starting to get just a little bit big for this knife on account of, I mean, it does it, but you have to know how to spin it around. But You see the blade's not quite long enough to span across. So I'm not going to cut a watermelon or anything. You could do it, but that's where the long knife comes in better than my LT Wright long knife. But you can see about the span of that knife. Plenty good for taking out any kind of tenderloin. I mean, you can cut any size animal up with this and make it work fine. The blade's plenty long enough for that. Or if you're going to cut a watermelon or something, you'd really want just a little bit longer blade. You could also do camp chores with this knife if you wanted to. I'll show you that you could do a little bit of batoning with it. And that's not made for that. I'm not going to be doing batoning all the time with it, but look, handle's plenty comfortable, and that's hard wood. I'm just showing that it'll do it. See there, it'll baton wood just fine. I'm not going to baton a lot with it. No edge damage whatsoever. I mean, it'll do it. And it'll feather stick just fine. Making good feathers on there. So you had this knife and it was your hunting knife, and you just had one knife on your belt while you're hunting and camping and everything. You could do everything with this knife. I mean, it'll make feathers just fine, good fine feathers. Handle's plenty comfortable. Nothing to complain about. And it won't rust. And also, saw this velvet ant running around here and just thought I'd throw it in as a bonus in the video. They're really a type of a wasp. They're a predator. They go around and hunt for other animals. What I mean animals, I'm talking about other insects. They're in the Mutilidae family. I just happen to know that, but anyway, we call them velvet ants. So back to the knife. Yeah, like I said, a velvet ant, they're not really like an ant. They can actually sting you. They got a stinger, so I consider them to be something like a wasp, but they're in the Mutilidae family. They got their own family of creatures. So anyway, what I was going to show is, I know from being that I've got that long knife and it's exactly the same steel and everything, that this knife will strop up real good. That's almost all I've used on that long knife. I did hit it on a ceramic rod a little bit a time or two just to touch the edge up when I first got it, but once I tried stropping it, it stropped so good that I've just almost only stropped it. Try to remember how many times I did on each side. That's the black compound side. Then I have the green. I just labeled mine, not like you couldn't tell, but now let's see. Oh yeah. Better not do too much, I'll have no hair on my arm. So that's how I maintain the knife, and with AEBL, that's all I've had to do so far with my AEBL. It maintains really easy. It holds an edge as long as I want it to hold an edge. I know it's not going to be anything like 10V or some of these super steels that hold the edge forever, but you can sure maintain it easy. It don't rust, and it holds an edge long enough for me. Now, just grabbing a stick here, I was going to show a little more. You can whittle with that thing. This is just an old stick I found, but it'll just take wood right off of there, no problem. This wood's a little punky there, but you get the idea. You could do anything with that you needed to do out in the woods, camp chores or anything, firewood gathering. But what I consider it to be is a hunting knife. That is mainly what it is, and mainly what I think a person will get it for. I was wanting a Canadian belt knife for a long time, and the LT Wright one seemed like the slickest one. By slick, I mean the best design, nicest made one. I've never seen one. I saw a small Northern Hunter that he has. This is called the Northern Hunter, but it is Canadian belt knife style. I saw a small Northern Hunter over at Smoky Mountain Knife Works one time, and I just found the handle on it to be a little bit little for what I like. Because see, the handle on this one, when I'm just holding it the way I'd hold it, I've got plenty of handle coming back here. The small Northern Hunter that I looked at, it seemed like it just didn't have enough handle for me. If you're out in the woods, you need to take down a little tree. Now this is a real little tree, but you know, everybody's seen you bend one down and it just, see, that'll take one down. Need to do it from this end is really the right way to do it. When you're cutting off limbs, go from the bottom so you don't split your wood. See, it'll take them off there. But yeah, you always go from the bottom of the limb. That's what I was always taught when you're, of course we were always mostly using the axe, but I'm just showing this stuff in case people want to do that. You need to do camp chores out in the woods. It's pretty hard right there where that all comes together, but anyway, you get the idea that you could do any kind of chores in the woods with this thing. Then when you're done with your chores, of course, like I said, you can just hit it right here on this. You probably wouldn't even have to do it as often as I'm doing it on this video. Then you got a sharp knife again. That thing's still razor sharp. So there you have it. That's the large Northern Hunter by LT Wright, AEBL steel. Really nice hunting knife in the Canadian belt knife style. Comes with a really nice sheath. And that's all for today.